It's That Skydive Sim Guy podcast where we discuss skydiving stories as well as give some great tips, whether it's the real world or the virtual world. This podcast is made possible by Skydive Sim, the world's most advanced skydiving simulator. Hey, it's That Skydive Sim Guy. I'm here today with David Monty. David, you are a full-time skydiving instructor. Give us a little background about you.
So I've been jumping for about 7 years now. Been cut away from the real world for the last about 4 to 2020. I got my ratings and said goodbye to the real world, moved into the drop zone, and I've pretty much been there ever since.
When you say moved into drop zone, you mean you live on the drop zone or just working?
Back in 2020, I did when I was still at Skydive Georgia. That's where I learned how my skydiving stuff at. Down at Skydive The Falls, Skydive Georgia. I was there until about the spring of 2021. And then I moved up here to Niagara Falls, and I've been working here every summer since then. And during the winters, I've now been working down at the World Skydiving Center in Jacksonville, Florida. With Mike Doak and them down there. It's been a fun time.
Sounds good, man. How many jumps you got?
Probably anywhere between 12 to 1,300 sport jumps and about 2,000 tandem jumps.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you've done quite a bit in 7 years, you said?
Most of those were done in the last 4, pretty much since 2020. Yeah,
mine is backwards. When I started, I did a lot. I did 2016, 2020 hit, and I slowed down a lot. I've been kind of stuck, it's like I don't want to go as much, but also I started the Skydive Sim project, so that's taking a lot of time. But
you've done pretty good with that, so
yeah. We actually met because of Skydive Sim. I think you reached out to me. You seem to be one of the people that played a lot, huh?
Especially over the winter and the spring I did, but with the summer season kicking in, I'm finding less and less time to hop on there.
I get it.
I've been able to bring it out to the drop zone for some weather holds, so that has been pretty entertaining.
That's cool. That people get excited. They have seen it before, or they just kind of seen it for the first time?
They've seen a few videos I've shown them, and then they'll hop on there, and I'll put them through the tutorial first, and it's hit or miss sometimes. I found it pretty entertaining, because you'll get some of the younger guys, and they kind of just catch into it pretty quick and easy, and then you'll get some of the older guys that take some 40 minutes to figure out just put your hands in the right spots for just a second, man.
It's funny. When I was actually starting out the project, I would take it to my local DZ on bad weather days, and just these are skydivers. They've been skydiving for years, and everybody would just do this. It's like, do you fly like this? It's like they wouldn't bring their hands up. They just be like this. It's like, come on. But I get it. There's no resistance, so you automatically do this. I catch myself a lot of times, like, just if I'm not testing something, I'm like, just hold my hand here and go turn, which totally messes with the physics. But
no.
Man.
It's still been a lot of fun though.
For sure. What's your favorite features on it?
Definitely the canopy flight so far. So far, the main things that I've used it for is all the things that I'm a little too scared and smart to not do in real life.
Got you. Okay.
Or it's things I don't have the abilities to do in real life. Like I don't have mountainside cliffs of Norway to go jump off of, or fly next to. So definitely flying the parachutes with relativity to the ground. Going down the sides of those cliffs has been all the fun that I've ever wanted, really. Happy ever game.
Same here, man. I love those maps because you really get to get close to that mountain and do lines down the mountain. And the nice thing is, if you hit the mountain, which I've done many times, you just get back on jetpacks and go back up.
Booster power, baby. Let's get back up there.
It sure is. Hey, tell me about your very first jump. What got you to go in?
Oh, I got a creepy uncle.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to my Uncle Woody, Papa Woody. He took me on my first skydive when I was 25. He's been in the sport 25, 30 years or so.
Oh, wow.
16,000 plus skydives. Yeah. He offered it to me at 18 and I didn't take him up until I was 25.
Oh, wow.
I have
Okay.
a few regrets in this world. Absolutely. I landed from that jump and went on a 4 or 5 hour walk, just reevaluated all the things going on in the world and life and how do I make this happen every day. And It took another year. It took another year because they had too many Packers on the mat at the time. My job took me away. I was a commercial roofer at the time. But then the following year, the same uncle is teaching me to ride a motorcycle. And he, one of the first trips, over an hour, 2 hour long trips we made was to the drop zone. And they needed Packers at that time. So yeah, I'll take a summer job.
Oh, man.
The pack-in, and then the pack-in paid for the jump-in, the jump-in paid for the rate-ins, the rate-ins paid for themselves, and so on and so forth.
Man, you lived the life. Sounds like you got a great uncle.
Hey, he's an uncle, man. He's a good guy.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
So, what was that? Were you scared for your first one? I mean, I know you said that he offered it at 18. You didn't take it till 25. So, what was going through your mind?
I mean, I just never really thought about it too much until I was out hanging out with them and seeing them at the drop zone and what they're really doing.
Yeah.
And yeah, the first jump, man, being in the gear, walking up to the plane, the 20-minute plane ride up, like I was very spoiled in my first 1,200 jumps. I got to jump out of a Twin Otter for the most part.
Yeah.
And even still, man, with that big old plane, you're just like, why am I doing this? Absolutely none of this makes sense. This is not a good idea. But then I got to the door and it felt like all the air hit every emotion I had, took it away. I looked out and was like, absolutely. This is why. Let's go.
Wow. Yeah, I have somewhat of a similar story. I went on my birthday in 2016 and I thought, just do a tandem, I'm done. And, I was at Spaceland Houston and they say your next jump is $99. So you just buy it and use it when you want. Of course, I bought it. Went back about a month and a half because I had a dream just smelling the blue skies up there, just in my dream. I'm like, man, I got to go again. And then I'm like, you know what? Maybe just for bragging rights, I want to do a couple of solo jumps. So I got their ground course and went to it. Then I'm like, man, maybe I should just get licensed. And I remember up until jump 10 solos, I would be sitting in that plane. They put you in the back because everybody else is going first. You're the student. And as we're taxiing on the runway, I'm like thinking to myself, what the fuck are you thinking, Amir? Why are you here? What are you trying to prove? But then it got easy. It's like it just started clicking in and I was enjoying it. But yeah, I mean, you got to get over that fear, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Gear fear was my biggest one. It took me probably about 40 or 50 jumps worth of watching other people's videos of them going up and trying to destroy their parachute and then it turning out that it works still. Yeah. A lot of those kind of jumps before I started trusting the idea that this nylon and fabric is going to hold me up thousands of feet above the air,
Yeah, it's a weird feeling dangling out there, especially first time by yourself. It's like, wow, here I am. I'm on my own now. Yeah. So tell me, you got a memorable story, something either fun or dangerous that kind of sticks in your head?
Oh, man, quite a few. Honestly, I would just go ahead and stick with the more recent one that was an adventure in and of itself. So April 8th, 6th, I believe, was the totality of the eclipse passing over the U.S., right?
Yes, it was. That was my birthday, too.
That is cool, man.
Yeah.
So Niagara Falls was specifically lucky that we had 100% totality pass over us.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was working still down in Jacksonville for my winter gig. And, Sunday, about 12 o'clock in the afternoon, I get off the load in Jacksonville. I run to the house. My old lady is a rigger as well. She packs the parachutes, FA certified, all that. I leave her at the drop zone. I run to the house, load up the truck, grab the dog, run back to the drop zone, grab her, and we start hauling butt up towards Niagara Falls because the totality passes at about 3:30 Monday afternoon.
Right.
We drive the whole night through and no stopping. Got to Niagara up here at the drop zone at about 10:30. At 11:30, where we're loading up on the bus to ferry over to the airport. We have a grass runway here, so in the spring and the winter, they're definitely not flying the plane out of here. We load up from Niagara International about 20 minutes down the road.
Okay.
And we hung out over at the airport until about 2:50 to be able to load up in the plane. And sadly, we had about overcast layer at about 6,000 feet. So we were we did have was with us planning on going, and we had to leave him in the bus.
Oh, man.
But that made that me and the other tandem instructors, we got to go do totality eclipse jumps with tandem gear on. 300 square foot parachutes with no weight in front of you. Man, when I say I jumped in the dusk, I pulled my parachute in the dark, and by the time we got close to each other, it was dark.
Oh, wow.
Because the overcast was made it even more darker, but you could still see the ring 360 degrees around the outside of the shadows of the clouds. And yeah, by the time we came into land, it was the dawn.
Yeah.
I got all three of them in one skydive.
How long does it take to come down on that tandem parachute when you don't have somebody with you? Like you don't have a passenger?
Well, we were only jumping from 6 because the overcast layer. And I want to say that I have 8 minutes of footage.
8 minutes under canopy?
Yeah. I turned my camera on before I jumped out of the plane, and I believe I turned it off after I landed. I believe it's about 6 to 8 minutes, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
We did overtake. We were the last ones out of the plane, and we did overtake one little girl that was flying like a 230, and she barely weighed like 130.
Okay.
We did overtake her, but for the most part, we were still the last to go down.
I bet, man, that must have been a slow ride, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What does that put you? I'm kind of curious now. Like, what would that put you as a wing loading if you don't have somebody?
Without the student harness on, I only exit the plane, I believe, at around 210 pounds. And I fly a NZ, so as I guess it's gyro now, a gyro 300 tandem.
Yeah. Okay, so that's not too bad. You said 210 out the door?
Yeah, with all that on
300.
Yeah.
So it's like a 0.7.
About 150, and that gear weighs about 60 pounds.
Okay, so, yeah, I didn't even calculate for that. So yeah, it'd be a little bit lower then. Man, that sounds like
nothing
fun.
Too terrible. I still swooped it.
You did.
It still swooped it, man.
Is that something you've done before? Like, I've never heard of anyone jumping that size canopy without their passenger.
Absolutely. Every Sigma instructor, every Sigma tandem instructor you've ever met has done one solo tandem rig jump.
That's
the first one we have to do to get our ratings. Yes, sir.
Gotcha. Okay.
When I first did that one, it took me over 10 minutes to get down. I was like 20 pounds lighter than what I am now.
Yeah.
And I was flying the Sigma 340s. And yeah, it took me almost 12 minutes from when I pulled to when my feet touched the ground.
Wow, man, that's pretty cool. That's actually pretty amazing story to jump during the full eclipse with a tandem rig. Without a passenger.
And when I landed, we got to sleep that night up here, and then we woke up the next morning and drove all the way back because we had work the next day in Jacksonville. So 40 hours of driving, one skydive.
But you gotta love it, right? I mean, it's worth it. We love the sport. So I mean,
would it change it for nothing?
Exactly. So let me ask you, when did you first hear of Skydive Sim? How'd you hear about it?
So it might not have been yours, but I believe it was. In 2018-ish, I broke my back. And so through the spring of 2019, I'm recovering and all that. And a buddy of mine at the drop zone has an Oculus Rift with a very powerful computer to run it.
Yeah.
And he got me into the Beat Saber games, and a lot of that, while recovering from the nerve issues in my legs and all that, without seeing what you're doing, but feeling and telling your body to do it, I feel like really helped reconnect a lot of the wiring in there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And through there, he had a wingsuiting app that
Rush?
was so good for, no, I don't think it was Rush.
No?
I think it was something else.
Okay.
But it was so good that real life wingsuiters, people that have gone off and jumped off on cliffs with the wingsuits on and everything, put that headset on, walked up to the edge and said, "Oh, hell no."
Wow.
Fell over backwards, standing there in the middle of the drop zone. It was hilarious. But through that game, I did some other research, and I'm pretty sure I found you back in your beta testing days.
Yeah, probably Canopy Sim at the time, because we were...
It might have been.
Yeah, it was just a landing sim. It was basically you start out under Canopy already, right?
I believe so, yep.
Okay, yeah.
And so I got to see a couple on that, and I've just been following it bit by bit until around Christmas time this year. I had some other friends that had bought in the Quest. Now I've gotten pretty cheap. You can get a Quest 2 on Marketplace for about $100, you know?
Wow.
So they had bought their Quest 2s. I was like, all right, I'll go ahead and get me one. And we were playing mainly the Golf Plus. Like, I got into golf playing the VR, man. And then I remembered, wait a second, I wonder how far that Skydive Sim's come so far. And I think I bought it in January, and man, I've had so much fun on it.
Yeah. You got it at the right
that
time.
You've been making keep coming up, and they've been getting better and better with each one.
Yeah.
I told most of my friends when I first got it that it was at like a 7 out of 10. Still pretty good. I mean, the visuals, the landing effects that it'll give you is awesome. They just need to tweak a few more things, and it'll start going up. And with the landing assist, the boosters, the tunnel, and now the front risers, solid 9.
Yeah.
8 3/4 out of 10.
That's great to know. That's always good to hear, man. So what do you think? Do you think you're a professional skydiver? Obviously, you're in there. You're an instructor. Would you say that sims like Skydive Sim can help the sport, help bring more people into the sport, get them curious? Would you think it's good for training, or is it just for fun?
So, a little mixed bag in all of that one. Absolutely, it will help bring more people into the sport. The people that think they're too scared to want to jump, that they could never do it, they're going to try the game and they're going to get a bug in them.
Yeah.
Hands down. As far as a training aspect goes, I would not use this to train AFS students. I do think they're two different skill sets. They do go hand in hand. You know, one is going to help the other and the other is going to help it back. But I think with the skills you need to learn in AFF, you need to nail those ones down a little bit tighter, and then use the flight canopy characters portions of it to learn while in coaching.
Okay.
I think learning to fly your patterns with that. I think we've had a talk once, twice that you have the ring fields for the tutorial, but having that in an actual, like just a training portion, some other separate maps that, hey, we pass through this ring at about 1,000 feet. You're going to fly that line and turn. This is about like 600 feet for landing patterns specifically.
Right.
I think would be very helpful for coachee students and above.
Yeah.
When it comes to the AFF, though, I think learning one skill at a time, especially if that one's meant to save your bone configuration.
Right. So you're not giving them too much information and confusing and say here.
Exactly.
And it's always different in the real world. I mean, even if the sim is 100% mimicking real world, you just have a different feeling when you're under a canopy and you actually know if you mess this up, you can hurt yourself versus, oh, if I hurt myself, it's just going to turn into a red screen for a few seconds. So it's a big difference there still.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
As far as experienced jumpers go, guys, get on this thing. Obviously, be smart and know that it's still a game, and what you do in the game is not going to translate towards real life. I fly fast parachutes, and I have a respect for fast parachutes.
Yeah.
But in the game, all the things that you're still trying to learn to do on your finished parachute, go learn it.
Yeah.
Those kind of skills do transition. And when you're doing a turn in the sim, if you whip that little quick turn, you're not going to do nothing. If you build that power, build the speed, the longevity in the turn, you're going to go places.
Yeah.
And that transitions straight up into real life.
I think it helps a bit for me with accuracy as well. Kind of like I've learned to like look at that target in the sim and just be able to, not even going to a pattern. I can actually land on it from far, far away by just controlling it, just looking at it and saying, okay, I'm going to hit that target. But I mean, I don't even use the assist, but we do have the assist that actually shows you, hey, you're going to land right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
yeah, no, I've been enjoying it. And honestly, especially with the canopy settings, the custom settings, with that change up there.
Right.
That was a big game changer.
Yeah,
like I said, I really like flying the mountain cliff.
Yeah, you came up with your own. Man.
Yeah, those have been really fun.
Yeah, I tried it the other day when we were playing. Tell me, how'd you come up with it? Just go back and forth until you find it?
Pulling around, man. I made up maybe about 20 different settings and just went through all the ones, figured out which one I liked the best, and then thought about why I liked that one the best. Was it because the glide ratio was like just way maxed out over the regular glide, or the gliding while flaring? And I found that trying to just max out all of them is silly. Your parachute's gonna fly just like that.
Yeah.
But if you find that nice sweet spot, dude, you can make those things glide for days.
Yeah. I mean, you can pretty much build any kind of wing you want and just fly it. Yeah, that's very true. So, have you ever tried any other simulators, or was this the only one as far as skydiving goes? Because there are a couple other ones out there.
Yeah, I was listening to your other talks with Brian and the guys, the ones that he was messing
Skydive
with, and they said that they
VR,
do train them, their AFF students with those ones. I have not tried them, and I'd like to, especially if it is something that might help the AFF students. But no, as far as most of the VR experience that I've had, I did the wingsuit one once or twice on my buddies back in 2019. But here with my Quest, I've really just played this VR, the Golf Plus. Centerinders. Centerinders is kind of like a different version of Beat Saber, where instead of lightsabers, you have these little glow balls, and you're still dancing and moving around with it.
Yeah. Man, VR's come a long way. It's like you can do so many different things in there, and they're also using it for medical. Firefighters using it. I know I say this a lot just because I'm very proud of it. When Brian told me the Polish army is using Skydive Sim to train their guys, and I'm like, yes, this is awesome.
Yes, sir.
And he said he didn't tell them about it. They just were using it. He said he was at the, I think it's Skydiving Symposium in Europe. And he said that they had the booths and they were right next to him. And he's like, hey, what are you guys using it for? And one was, I think, for gun training and stuff. And then another one was skydiving. And he asked which sim you're using. They're like, oh, we're using Skydive Sim. I'm like, oh, man, that's awesome. That is one of the best things. Couldn't ask for more.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So any other stories that stick in your mind?
Oh, man.
I mean, you can't really top, I guess, the Eclipse one, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, up here at the Falls, we do get to do a lot of cool things. Once a year, we'll do a demo over Niagara Falls. We land pretty much in either in the Sheraton Hotel parking lot, which is, we got a poster over here, and I was wondering if it's actually in that poster, and not really, but you almost throw a football to the river from that parking lot, really. Yeah, it's close.
That's going to be fun. And these are demos, you said,
one's
right?
been pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's pretty cool.
And then we've had the Whiskey 7 up here. Whiskey 7 is a C-47 aircraft that is one of 19 planes from D-Day that's still flying people around, man.
Wow. And you guys jump out of it?
That one last year. Yes, sir. Yeah. And the Falls is a very well up and coming drop zone. I think they've been in operation about the last 8 years. So the stuff we've got to do up here is it's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah. Sounds like you're living a dream, man. You're just like, you're not really working. You're just having fun and getting paid for it, right?
Pretty much, man. If my dad told me if you found what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. I don't really find it quite that true. but it doesn't quite feel like work. And the paycheck at the end of the day is like, that's the icing on top of the cake.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, you're jumping out of planes, you're communicating with people. I thought about at some point getting a tandem rating just to get it. But I think it would be kind of fun to kind of share that experience with someone, especially most of them it's their first time. So it's a whole different thing. I know on the plane, just when you see a first time tandem student, they're so excited. So I can imagine if you're the one taking them out, there's just a whole different feeling, right?
Absolutely. Honestly, the pay and all that is one benefit of this job, but it's the energy those students give you.
Yeah.
When the parachute's open and they're breathing and you can feel all that hanging from you right there, it's those emotions that definitely transfer to you and you get every inch of that.
Changing your life forever, really. I know mine changed after my first one.
Hands down. I can attest to that all day long.
Yeah, I tell everybody, they're like, you skydive? I'm like, I do it for fun, but I think everyone should do it at least once in their life. It's just one of those things you have to do.
Hands down, skydiving is not for everybody, and everybody shouldn't do it full time.
Right.
But everybody should go on one tandem.
Exactly.
At least
it changes
one tandem.
Your perspective. I mean, I remember after my first tandem, I'm looking up in the sky that day later on, and I'm like, I was up there. I fell out of the plane. Not really fall, but jumped. But it's definitely great. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, man, we could talk forever. I'm really enjoying this conversation, but we should probably wrap it up. I'd love to bring you back on at some point as well and just get some more.
Anytime, buddy.
Some more.
Yep.
Cool.
Think we got some rainy weather coming the next couple of days, so hopefully I'll see you on the VR pretty soon, man.
Sounds good, man. Thanks so much for taking the time to meet with me.